Hey guys, welcome back to the Sullivan family. So I've got a bit of a different one today. We've been asked quite a few times about the sort of meals that I cook, the sort of meals that we eat. I mean, I think we did a vlog once about meals, because it's always a little bit of a difficult one, because a lot of the evenings in the week we have people at different places, so we have to cook quick stuff. Me and Ben quite often don't eat until later on in the evening. But if I've cooked like a stew or a curry or a chilli or something like that, then I cook it at tea time for the kids and then we eat it later on. But other times we'll eat different food, but later on in the evening. So I try and do like a meal for everybody, but some nights, as we've said before, it's just stuff in the oven that's quick because somebody's got to be somewhere, or Noah's got football, or the girls have got dance lessons. Some nights, some of them have like cold dinner, sandwiches or whatever, because they're at dancing and they're not in that time period. By the time they get back, it's too late to eat. They're too tired, so they end up so we pack lunch with us for tea. But people have sort of said, what sort of meals do you cook for so many people? So I thought this week I'd film a couple of the things that we cook. We don't actually eat that much meat. We're not vegetarian, but we don't eat an awful lot of meat. So we eat quite a lot of soups with like lentils, pulses, beans, kidney beans, that sort of thing. Vegetables, all the things that kind of bulk things out. Even when I do like something like fajitas, and we'll have chicken in it, but I'll quite often use less chicken and bulk it out with lots more vegetables, put extra vegetables in it, like sweet corn, carrots, so it's not just peppers and onions. I'll fill it out with loads of other vegetables as well. Not only does it make it cheaper, but it also makes it go further as well, so you've kind of bulked it out with, and it tastes just, it tastes lovely. I love it with like peppers and sweet corn and carrots and onions and stuff, because it just kind of gives a few more tastes and flavours in it. So yeah, tonight I am cooking a vegetable stew. I'm going to do a vegetable chilli as well later on in the week. I've actually never made a vegetable chilli before. I've done normal beef chilies, but we've got a few people in the house that have gone off eating beef lately, and I was able to get this because we've tried corn mince, but quite a few of them didn't like the texture of the corn mince. I must admit, I wasn't overly keen. But Tesco started doing this like half and half, so it was half beef mince and half vegetable, I think, but it was all minced. But I can't find it anywhere now, and they quite liked that, and I quite liked that. It was quite nice. So anyway, I thought I'd give vegetable chilli a go. I've probably made one, but really, really long time ago. I'm kind of a bit of a wing it cook. It's probably why I'm not all that good at baking anymore, because I don't like following recipes. I just kind of like bung it in and hope for the best. And normally it turns out okay. So yeah, I'm going to cook a vegetable stew for tea. Right, so I've got baby potatoes, just kind of I don't know what is in it, kilogram bag, just a little one. Some parsnips, swede, red onions. You can use red onions or normal onions, and sometimes I use frozen onions as well that are already chopped up. But I thought I'd try it with red onion today, because that can be sweeter. Carrots. I won't use all these carrots. Some of these carrots are for chilli as well. So I'll probably use half of them in a stew. So I'm gonna start chopping these veg up, put them in the saucepan. I'm gonna time lapse that bit, because otherwise it'd be forever, to be honest. So I'll just time lapse it because it's quicker. Right, so parsnips. I was going to say, it doesn't really matter how you chop the veg, whether you want to chop them like straight up circles, whether you want to chop them into sticks. It doesn't really make any difference in stew, because the idea is that it all kind of stews down anyway. So I do find if I leave some of the veg quite chunky, because it goes quite mushy, but the chunkier it is, it kind of fills it out a bit more. And if you chop it too fine, it can just dissolve. So, because obviously the idea of stew is that you leave it to stew for a long time. So yeah, sometimes if you chop it up too small, it just kind of dissolves, which is good for some of it. So I can't remember who once told me that. It's good for, so it was probably my mum, for some of it to go and kind of dissolve, because it makes the kind of liquid thicker, but you obviously want some veg to eat still. So anyway, that's the parsnips. I'm going to put them in. Next is onions. I'll do the onions. I won't time lapse this bit. I don't know whether to put like 1 onion in or 2. I'll see what it's like when I cut it up. The other reason I buy frozen onions, normal frozen onions, is because onions make me cry when I peel them. I hate peeling onions. I don't mind red onions, but normal onions just make you cry. Red onions are a little bit sweeter, so they're always quite nice to have in things. Actually, these are quite strong, the red onions. Right, so I didn't realise that my video storage was full, and so I wasn't actually even recording then. Anyway, the onion has gone in and did make me cry. Thanks, Leah's just said it stinks.
It stinks like onions.
It is onions, that's why. So, hello.
You're a fox.
You made a fox?
Yes, you made a fox too.
They've just come home from school. That's really cool. So I'm gonna use about this many carrots, about half the bag. So I'm gonna make a start peeling and chopping these. Right, I'm just finishing off. You can't actually see the board and me, so I kind of have to just do that all the time. I just see the half of my head. I'm just finishing these off. I'm not entirely sure how many carrots I put in, because they're all wonky ones, because the wonky ones are cheaper. Again, it doesn't really matter which way you cut them. Some people like them. I do find they're easier round in stews and stuff, but it doesn't really make any difference. Right, so I'm just gonna chuck them in. So I've got carrots, parsnip and onion. I might add some frozen onions as well. Not entirely sure. Yeah, that's Agnes. Agnes is back from school. Right, so I'm going to do some Swede, which I'll probably have to get Ben to help me, because I can never get, mind you, it is only a little one, so I might be able to do it. I can never get the knife through it. I'm sure there's some kind of way of doing it, but I haven't found one yet. See this one when my knife stuck. I have to get Ben to help me.
After this, I don't need a rest for my snack.
Oh, why? Because what? You're very tired after school.
Yes.
Your hair has had a bit of a disaster while you've been at school. Has it all fallen out? Has it been a busy day? Yeah? Do you want to say hi? Can you reach? Come back, come over here. Yeah. Come over here. There you go. You say hi? You having your snack?
Yeah, I went all the way to the bottom.
Yeah. What have you been doing at school today?
Oh no.
I think she's a little bit tired. Right, I'm going to get the rest of this chopped up.
I want a different snack.
It may take me some time. Right, the sweet's just gone straight in. So, I mean that pan is, I don't know how big it is, but it's quite big. So that's like, what, about 10 carrots, small swede, smells really nice. And red onion, I'm going to put some normal onions in it as well, I think. Or I might just put another red onion in. And 4 parsnips so far. So, I'll put another red onion in. Florence is just chatting in the background, can you hear her? It's really cute. You alright down there, Flo? I'm gonna, because this will be for me and Ben later this evening, and probably about half the kids will eat it. Like I said, some of them, some of them are willing to try lots of different things. Some of them eat lots of things. Some of them won't touch it with a barge pole. But that's just the way it is. I'm not going to force them to eat things they don't want to eat. I'll always encourage them to try stuff. And actually, recently, one of them who has never really been all that good at trying new things, started to try lots of new vegetables and stuff lately, so they are kind of, getting there with trying new stuff.
Yeah, because it's raining.
But I'm not going to sit there and force them to eat a meal. I'd rather just cook something out of the freezer.
Yeah.
She sounds like one of those,
It's all about a gremlin before it's a gremlin.
Yeah. She sounds like.
Hi everyone.
Right, so the last thing I'm going to put in is potatoes. You're probably supposed to wash them, but they look pretty clean, so they'll be alright. I'm not going to peel them or anything like that, and you could give them a wash, but I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm literally just going to, if they were normal potatoes, I might peel them, but the baby potatoes are easier for stew because you can just chop them up. So just chop them up into sort of fours and put them straight in the pan. I don't cook them first or anything like that, just put them straight in. Everything goes in straight in raw. Actually, this probably would be quite good to do in a slow cooker, but my slow cooker's on top of the cupboard where it's been for about 2 years because I'm never ready enough. I never think it through enough to think, I'll put something in the slow cooker for tomorrow. But it probably would be quite good in a slow cooker. Again, it's quite good if you do some of the potatoes quite small because they'll dissolve and make the sort of sauce, juices, whatever, a bit thicker because they'll just right down. Oh, I didn't use thunder. So I leave some of them bigger and chop some of them up quite small. My pan's getting pretty full, I must admit. Right, that's it. So there's that much, it's nearly full. I'm just going to fill it with water and put it on the stove. Okay, so I filled it water just kind of up to the line of where the veg is. So I'll just leave that now and bring it to the boil and then add some flavourings. So I'll just leave it for a minute to start boiling and then we'll add some stuff. The cameras are like that. Right, so this is the bit where I bung some stuff in to make it taste nice. Just not just water and vegetables. I don't actually know what you're supposed to put in for stew. It's looking at me as if to say you're not going to win any cooking awards. But it tastes nice.
It does taste nice.
Right, so I'm going to bung some gravy in because that'll help thicken it up. Just going to put a little bit in. What am I using? The chicken gravy granules. And I'm going to put in 3 vegetable OXO cubes. I use vegetable OXO cubes in pretty much everything because they always make it taste really nice. I'm also going to put in some pepper. You can add salt if you want to, but I don't actually like salt, so I don't really put it in any of my cooking. I know some people say it's good to put it in certain things, but I don't really like salt all that much, so I tend not to add it in. Right, so it's 3 OXO cubes and some gravy granules. I'll just add a little bit more gravy. And some pepper. We all like things quite hot, spicy. So I do tend to add a fair amount of pepper, but obviously the little ones eat it as well and they're not as keen. Mind you, the other night I did a lentil soup and I added quite a lot of pepper and Florence loved it. Because what I'm also going to do is blend some of this down, maybe not tonight, but for another night, whatever's left over I'm going to blend down and make into baby food for Florence. So I'm going to leave that now to just to boil. I'll turn it down a little bit. I'm just going to leave it to simmer for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, and see what it's like then. If there's too much water in it still, then I'll just drain a little bit out, but I'm just going to leave it to kind of boil away and give it a taste and see if it needs anything else added to it. Okay, so it's boiling, it's still cooking. So as I said earlier, I don't really follow very many recipes. I'll have a look if it's something that I don't know what I'm kind of doing. I might follow a recipe, or I might just look at a recipe for an idea. I used to be vegetarian when I was sort of in my early teens, and I used to kind of just throw things together, or should I say mid-teens probably. I used to just throw things together, and that's kind of the kind of cook that I am. I just put things together and hope that it kind of works. I think even when I cook a roast, it's kind of, I do sort of follow the rules. Obviously if we're cooking chicken and stuff, you have to kind of follow the timings for that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of just put it all together and hope it turns out okay. Most of the time it does. So I'll have a look. Like, I wasn't sure about a vegetable chili, so I had a quick look at a recipe, and I guess what I normally do is kind of adapt it to how it would suit us, because you know, there might be vegetables that you don't like. You might not like parsnips, you might not like carrots, so you might put a different vegetable in that you like. So you can kind of use whatever you want, really. Root vegetables are always quite good because they bulk out quite well. Hi, Flo. And they dissolve quite well. Actually, I've just realised I didn't buy any nice crunchy crusty bread to go with my stew. You just have to have normal bread.
Well, I could always go down the shop.
Could. Anyway, so the girls, when they do baking for Florence, they do a lot of dairy-free baking, and they kind of have adapted the same sort of thing as I do, and in that they don't really follow a dairy-free recipe. They just swap out the dairy stuff for non-dairy. So they use the dairy-free butters, and they'll use, instead if it needs milk or something, they'll use either oat milk or almond milk or one of the other milks. So they don't necessarily follow a dairy-free recipe. They, you know, when it's chocolate, they'll use the free from chocolate. Actually, they made a cake the other day. They made buttercream icing, dairy-free buttercream icing, and chocolate, and it was really, really nice. And you wouldn't, because a lot of the dairy-free chocolates are quite they're a bit more like dark chocolate, and it was really, really nice. You would never have tasted the difference between that it was dairy-free. So they've kind of adapted the same philosophy that I go by, and just kind of chucking it in and hoping for the best. Although they do follow a recipe slightly better, but when they just kind of, rather than following a specialist recipe, they'll just swap out the dairy stuff. So yeah, it's still cooking. I've got to put in some other things for some other people, because as I said, not everybody will eat this, and as much as I try and encourage the little ones to taste new things, and some of them are really good, some of them aren't, I'm not, you know, I'll encourage them and I'll give them small amounts of stuff, but I'd rather they ate a meal. And with the cost of everything at the moment, I'd rather they just ate something. So they'll get, you know, I normally just put some freezer stuff in as well. The twins are normally quite good. Agnes isn't quite so good because she's had such a limited diet with being dairy free over the years. She's not very happy about trying new things, so it's a little bit of a, but she does like some things. We'll just keep trying her, and hopefully she'll eat some stuff eventually. So yeah, I'm going to put in some other bits and pieces in the oven and leave this to bubble away. Right, so as you can see, it's all kind of mushed down now, which kind of makes it all thicker. It's pretty much ready, to be honest. I think the thing is with stew, it would normally taste better like the day after, when it's been left for a while and thickened up. But it tastes just as good like today, but it tastes even better if you leave it for a day. But we're going to eat it tonight anyway. The other thing I was going to say is, if you wanted to make it into a beef or a chicken stew, then just literally add beef or chicken, and just make sure it's, you know, cooked for as long as it needs to be cooked. But yeah, so it's kind of thickened up nicely. You can always add a bit of corn flour as well if you want it to thicken up even more, but I'm not overly keen on corn flour. I always seem to make it too thick when I add corn flour, which is why I kind of add quite a lot of potatoes, because they make it that bit thicker when they all break down. I have mushed the potatoes up a little bit as well, just to make it that bit thicker. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to serve it up now. Right, so that's dinner done. So what's left over is for me and Ben later, and whatever else there is left after that I will blend down for Flo to have. First you, baby. She's eating her dinner at the moment. Look, bless her.
Oh, oh.
Are you eating your dinner? You've got most of it on your bib. Is it yummy? Yeah?
She's having her fruit. She's having some mango.
She likes her food. Don't you, baby? Do you like your yummy food? Mmm. So yeah, whatever's left over I'll blend down for her, and it might do you one dinner, mightn't it? It might do you one dinner, the amount you eat. Yeah? Are you hungry? So that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed my take on cooking. It's not very conventional, I guess, or traditional, kind of. It's just to throw it in a pan and hope for the best, and it always turns out it tastes really nice, and we like it. And you know, vegetable stew is one of those things that's really, really cheap to make, because it's literally just vegetables, water, and some flavourings, vegetable oxo, and you know, it's really, even if you added meat, it wouldn't be too expensive, because you could just add a small amount of meat. I mean, I obviously cook for quite a lot of people, but you know, you could make that a lot smaller, or you can make it just as big, and you know, freeze some of it. I think you can freeze stew. I think I've frozen it in the past. It always seems to come out okay. So yeah, you could add more, like I've done with other things as well. When we do add meat, you can add, you know, just a small amount of meat and a lot of vegetables, so you're still having meat, but it's kind of bulked out with lots of vegetables. It makes it cheaper. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop us a like, and go on our link tree, which is on our Facebook and our YouTube, and you'll find all the links to our Facebook, our TikTok and our Instagram, so go check them out as well. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.